I'd like to thank you all for being here, being a Saturday afternoon, a beautiful day. You could have been doing something else, but you're here to listen to me. So we're talking about two important things: defense, how to make a good defense. So we'll talk about threat hunting and using the offensive ability to run some tests. This is going to be a practical presentation. I'm going to show you. Today, I didn't make any sacrifices because people say that you have to do a sacrifice. You have to get like two virgin people in security, sacrifice them so that you don't have any problems. I don't think Eder had to do that. So there's someone. Does anyone want to take part in a sacrifice? But anyway, jokes aside, I'll start my presentation. And before I go into the technical details, I'm going to show you some indicators, interesting indicators. These two pictures represent a very important image on how companies see cybersecurity to do business. It's from the World Economic Forum, the Davos Forum, and you see the US and United Kingdom are very concerned with cybersecurity. The three main concerns of the companies is cybersecurity in these countries. But in Brazil, we rank 16th. So we have a difficult life. Nobody is concerned about security here. So there are countries who where security is one of the major concerns, and we rank 16th. So one thing that I want to make very clear to you, it's not a piece of paper, a policy, or a norm that will prevent threat actors from working. You will do that. Hackers do not care about policies, compliance, or a piece of paper. If you don't apply knowledge into the practice, it's not going to work. So you are the best security tools. That's the main thing. And I'm here to help you develop the keyboard skills. So your skills to make things happen. So we see a wave of norms. In Brazil, we have new laws and bills, but actually, I don't think that's gonna work if we don't have skilled people that know how to perform their roles at the right time. And I say that our field requests vocation. So you're here because that's what you like doing with your heart, and it became your lifestyle. So we work the entire day, all the time. We're working during the evening, we're thinking about it. So it's not a work, it's vocation. It's something that you cannot develop if you don't have the vocation. And our country lost $22 million last year. It's a lot of money. And up to 2021, the entire world will lose $6 trillion of dollars. So it's twice our GDP. So everything Brazil produces times two is what the world will lose with cyber crimes. So that's a very good indicator. You can hack Armageddon. It mentions that in some indicators that up to 2021 there will be a shortage of 3 million professionals, and you are all in the road to become the best professionals and to be on the front line to defend companies, because everybody will need that. And why does that happen? The return on investment for a cyber crime is almost 1,000%. Each dollar invested, they get back $1,500. That's a lot of money. You don't get a ROI like that in other businesses. It's easy to be a criminal. The world is global. A criminal in Russia, Europe, China, they can get to Brazil with the same mouse speed of their neighbor, of your neighbor, just with a mouse click, with the same speed. So that's cruel. We rank 16th in terms of concern, but we face the same criminals of those that are very concerned and invest 50 times more than we do. So we have a tough mission how to deal with that. Not a lot of budget, not a lot of appreciation, and we have to be in the front line of defense. Many challenges ahead of us. I hope I can help you with some of them during my talk. And our goal here is to develop knowledge so you can do it. I was talking to Salema and Colonel Eder, and I was talking to some people, and I said, let's try to show something that can be applied by people, because transformation occurs when knowledge can be applied. When you can change something into your in your company or home. So that's what we want to provide you with. So these are the indicators from zero diem with regards to exploits and their value. So if you create a nice Windows exploit, I can sell it for $300,000. For an iPhone, $1,500,000. These are cyber weapons. Nobody sees cybersecurity in serious countries as a nerd play. This makes companies get a lot of money, and these cyber weapons are very harmful. I'll talk a little bit, if I have time, about nation states and their impact. But your knowledge is very valuable for the market today, so continue studying. And I believe that in the next 5 years, things are going to get much worse before they get better with regards to cybersecurity, at least here in Brazil. But this will probably lead to more investment and to the awareness of business people. I think all speakers brought nice indicators. Top 10 attacks. There is still malware, especially, and those that are more commonly attacked are regular or ordinary people, especially here in Brazil. How to deal with the problem. So I want to show you a practical model for threat hunting. So how to hunt the threats, how to find out malicious artifacts, detection methods and standards in an environment. So for example, my network was intruded, I'm suffering from a ransomware, how to take quick action to identify the threat and then contain it and then eradicate and recover. So this is the strategy to go through all the steps for incident handling process using threat hunting without having to buy tools, using what the operational system has. That's our goal today. So to start, I'll talk about some concepts. These concepts, they explain how the operating system works. We are going to use the WBAN, the Web-Based Enterprise Management, which is a pattern of DMTF. I'm going to explain what DMTF is. These were built many years ago on how computers should be monitored and how the interactions would occur. The WebBAN was one of the attempts to try and understand and monitor services. What's going on? So it was a pattern used by the IT area to understand performance, compliance, improve availability, but it can be well used for security using the CIM, which is the Common Information Model. The Common Information Model is the guy who's going to make the definition inside libraries of all the things that are available in terms of services and information in devices to give you indicators for monitoring. This has been on for many years, more than 20 years, but no one has used it properly. It is starting to be used in the cloud environment, and Microsoft started using it with the WMI service that you probably know. It has been going on since Windows DMT, and it had a survival. And the WMI service is not the same. It's part of a strategy from Microsoft, which is called Management Infrastructure. So Microsoft wonder, everybody's going to the cloud, waiver is growing, everybody's migrating to Office 365. I need to find a way for people to be able to monitor it efficiently. And I'm changing Azure to Linux. The kernel will be Linux. So there is IoT devices as well. So how to handle with all of that? There is a person or a guy, right? The SIM model that deals with all of that. The CIM is a universal model. It is installed in many IoT devices that are Linux distributed. So Microsoft got all the services reapplied to WMI for all cloud solutions. It was done about 5 years ago within this model. And there are some attack techniques. This picture you see is the WMI architecture, and this was part of a Matt Grabber talk in 2015. And this is going to be used, the services that are existing are going to be used to create a solution so we can identify threats and we can make these threats contained and we can eradicate them. This is going to be a project that will be open for everybody to collaborate and to help us because it's not necessary for investments to be made, no money needed. So it's using and enhancing it so it becomes better and faster. It's going to be using a new protocol, not that new, WinRM. This is a protocol used by Microsoft for remote communication of the main services like PowerShell. It uses remote commands, and this WMI communication does the remote communication through TCP port 5985 and 6, which is HTTP and HTTPS. All these resources are going to be used with a mixed core model. So how does it see security for critical infrastructure framework? 5 phases. Identify the risk. Once it's identified, protection against threats, proper controls to detect the threats that are coming, responding to the threats and recovering. So those 5 phases will be used applied to framework. For identification, you will be able to see if there is any patch missing, if there is remote communication, malicious artifact. So IOCs will be used. They are compromising indicators. And through IOC, I'll be able to map the environment very quickly. If there are 500,000 machines, it will do that in all of them. That's very good about the WinRM protocol. It's effective, it's fast, and it allows for remote communication. Once it's identified, there is a pattern that will work with XML. It's an open one. XML can be used for the defense process. Then protection, so installing of patches, hardware, and so on. And then detection, then you know that you're being attacked, so it will create specific logs in the empty viewer, and then the response. All of that with the attack matrix from Mitek and Cyber Kitchen, it will work just like you see for relationship here. And I'll show you how it working. The two views. the nice one, which is protecting the environment, and I'm gonna show you as with an active thinking, an active defense thinking or offensive defense thinking, how to harm other environments, and I will put a 0 day for you to understand all of that better. So basically, what I have here some virtual machines, a workstation, and inside the workstation there are some artifacts that will be used as an example. And everything we'll do, we will use WMI repository, and I'll show you how they work. This solution, it's a PowerShell-based script. PowerShell, because Microsoft is using, it's not a language. PowerShell, it's an engine that works on a library that is a system management automation, and Microsoft is using as a management tool, as a strong tool. So it's a factory, a malware factory inside Windows. But anyway, so what I'm going to show you is the script working very simply, so we can discuss some things about it. So actually, we're going to go through all the phases. IOCs are inside Kich. They import the IOCs and they do the research according to the artifacts.
So our first interaction is to invoke threat hunting to identify. But remotely. If I had 150,000 computers, could I do it and all of them? Yes, it can manage all the connections. That's the advantage of the IRM protocol. So I'm going to execute locally so you can see it, and then I'll do it remotely. So on this computer where I executed it and could be executed remotely, it identified that there was no critical patch, and there were some protections that were recommended for the environment, which is to close SMB, among other things. So it asks you if you want to go to the protection stage. We're not going to do that right now. I'll do it later for you to see. This was the lack of the sacrifice. This was the sacrifice we were missing. Here, I'm not going to go into much detail because we're going to waste some time, but it says that it recommends deactivating the SMB version 1. So I'm going to execute the environment protection because since there was an open SMB, now it's going to So I'm going to have to restore snapshot here. This shouldn't be happening. So while this is rebooting, I'm going to show you the offensive part, and then I'll go back to the defensive. Our objective is that we know that criminals are always trying to innovate. And one of the techniques that they use is persistence to remain in the environment. But we can use the same techniques for persistence. And this is already done in a few ways. But can you imagine the persistence from a criminal using user behavior to establish actions? As if it was an identifier, an intruder identifier, but for evil purposes. So I can understand what you're doing, and